battles began with my previous short film, Viva Paradis. And I made this short film in Tunisia right after the revolution in 2011. And it was about tourism and revolution and how they somehow were connected in that film. And when I was there, I was filming tourists one day that were visiting the old ruins of Tunisia in Carthage, and on the other day I wanted to film these traces of the revolution, of the recent revolution, so these burned out banks and villas and everything. And when I was filming them, I suddenly noticed how people from Tunisia were taking a walk there as well, just like the tourists in Carthage, wanting to see for themselves what had happened in these past few weeks. And it was very interesting to see this connection between tourists visiting old ruins and new tourists visiting new ruins. And so it made me wonder what will happen to these recent traces of this recent conflict and this recent thing, and could they one day become also monuments, or what would happen to them? And so that was the starting point for my film Battles. I think what I want to do also is to show these things that normally maybe you wouldn't notice. Like in the first chapter of the film, you have all these hidden things under the ground. They're explosives that never really exploded, and they're still stuck in the ground. And there's this whole division of the Belgian army that has to dig them out and has to, or they find them and they have this whole procedure of exploding it because it's still dangerous. And for me, that's a bit what the film also is about, to make you notice all these things that sometimes are hidden. It's like, well, if you would walk into town after seeing the film, maybe you would think like, actually, what is this monument about? Or maybe what's going on underneath my feet? Or what has happened here before in this city? What has happened before in the landscape? Because that's a bit the idea of the film, that if something like this happens, something like a conflict, like a war, like a dictatorship, like something like that, there's always something that stays. And the film is not so much about people who actually lived or actually were personally involved into something like that, but that it keeps on lasting and it keeps on influencing people's lives who also didn't have anything to do with it. So yeah. What was important for me with this film? Since it is very much about how the past hasn't passed, but how it's still in the present somehow. It's these traces of military conflicts that are still present in various different ways, literally in the landscape, or in memories, or in commemorations, or in very different ways. And so for me it was important to show not only in the content how it is present, but also in the form. And so in that way I wanted to create sort of a twilight zone where this past and present comes together and where time becomes blurred. And so I tried to make these images where sometimes you get confused as a viewer, sometimes you get a bit lost of where you exactly are. There are certain scenes where you wonder, is this a reenactment, or is this something in the past, or is it something happening right now? Which is also something we try to do in the sound, to create this blurriness of times, and so that was important for me for the form. And besides that, it's a very observational film. Because it's about the absurd relationship between the everyday life and between this abnormal thing that has infiltrated, so this thing from the past that is still there. So I wanted to have this absurdness also present. And if you have a lot of wide-angle shots that take a long time and that you see little details, I think it generates the humor and the absurdness I was looking for.
Let's go out and smash everything!